Hello. I could eat about 1.5 million of these.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Welcome to the It's a Drama podcast.
Daddy, I love him.
My mother thanks you.
If you can't say something nice.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian with my headphones on, so I can't hear myself. Right, I've taken them off.
And today we're going to be talking. Do you want to start again?
No, it's fine. That was a good start.
Okay, it's fine.
No,
All right. No,
stop.
it's fine. Fine.
All right,
Okay,
okay,
stay on.
okay.
Okay. Every week. Today we're going to be talking about 2020 and how it was for us, basically. And that sounds really self-indulgent, but the reason we're doing that is because you meet so many people and they're like, oh yeah, 2020 has been the worst year for me. Oh yeah, no, 2020 wasn't too bad. And I just thought you might just want to know what 2020 was like for our family and for us here in New Zealand. You might be able to get something out of it. But basically, if you're just a nosy Parker like me and you want to know what's going on, this is your chance to just catch up on our year 2020 and what it was like. So we are going to start the year off way back. That seems like years and years and years ago, but was only 11 months
We're
ago.
in December 2020. So when we say 2020, we mean 2020, don't we?
Why? What do you mean?
I don't know, 2020, it means like if you've got good vision as well. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the year is 2000.
1-4 for a copy.
2020. Is that how you say it? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Way back in January. So, yeah, January for us was about getting ready for. We'd had Christmas in New Zealand. It's the summer in New Zealand in January. It was a lovely, warm January, and we had guests coming over.
Yep, we had my family members coming over. So my side of the family, it's the first time someone's been out here for 10 years. And my brother David, my cousin Mark, and my Uncle Ed, who was coming. They were coming out from the USA. So we were getting ready for them and just, looking forward to them coming out. And
lots of tidying up, wasn't there?
There was lots of tidying up, lots of getting the bleach out.
Why do you always do that? Why, when you're expecting people, why don't you just be like normal and go, oh yeah, this is how we live? Why is it you always try and make it perfect for when people turn up?
I don't know. I really don't know what that is.
I know.
Because you don't go cleaning everything like mad, do you? And then, but your mum and dad are coming over or something, and it's like, get everything spick and span.
I know. And then the minute they've been here, like literally when they came over, they walked in, they were like, oh, this is a beautiful house. And it was like, yeah, just make the most of it because, you
We'll be
won't
like
see
this
us
next
tidy
week.
again. But no, you do tend to do that, don't you? Like,
yeah, you do.
Tidy everything up. So go on, sorry. So did you have a good trip with your brother and your
Yeah, it was great to
cousin?
see them. They came over I think Mark came over for 2 weeks. David came over for 3 weeks. So we did a little road trip out to Rotorua and around, and we did lots of walking, played a bit of golf, and
got a few drunks.
Yeah, it was Mark's birthday when we were out here, and we got the vodka and cranberry juice. Never had that before.
So what was I just going to say? So here we are in January, just loving having these guests over. Actually, Mark did a podcast with me and Uncle Ed did a podcast.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
I'll put those links in the show notes. But here we are. January is just perfect. It's warm. We've got guests. The house is nice and tidy. Brian's on the vodka every night, so he's nice and relaxed. And kids are happy. They're out with their friends, swimming in the river, just doing really nice stuff. And then towards the end of January, the TV goes on and we're told...
Well, that was the thing. It was, you could see these things happening, the odd thing comes through and you see it and there's this virus, and that was that really, wasn't it?
I remember Dave and you saying to me that you'd been to Rotorua on that day. You remember you went on that tour, and Dave said, or Mark said, oh, it was really weird because like people had face masks on. And I'm like, oh, really? Why would they have face masks on? And I think they'd heard, these people were Chinese, and I think they'd heard that this virus, or it was already.
Yeah, well, a lot of people. So, you're on, say, a gondola going up to there's a big hillside there with a concrete luge run that you can go down on, and a big sky swing. And you take a ski gondola up to the top, and all these people were in, as in, say, they were from Chinese or Asian. They were all wearing their face masks, so I think they were a bit ahead of the game.
Yeah,
I
because
think
you
they
don't see
knew.
that in New Zealand, do you?
No,
ever?
you don't. No.
Yeah. All right, so we're in January. We get the news, and they're like, "Oh, well, we're flying." I'm going to do my American accent because that sounds really good. We're flying back next week, so I hope it's going to be okay. And they fly back, and everything's fine. And then, literally, people started talking
two
more
weeks
about
later,
it.
yeah, it just escalated, and they could, obviously the governments around the world could see what was happening, and we all know what was going to happen.
But New Zealand was we weren't in lockdown or anything, so we're just
No, we
gonna
weren't,
talk.
but they got the system together pretty quick, which was 1, 2, 3, 4 levels, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was in
And-
March. You're jumping ahead.
Oh, sorry.
So February. So we've done January. So
Yep.
there we are. So your relatives go back. Our family go back. Dave stayed for a little bit into beginning of February.
Yep.
The big thing that happened for me in February was Tessa went back to. So Tessa, my daughter, I've got 2 children. As you know, I'm not going to go on about that. Tessa went back to school. Tessa went to high school, basically. She's been homeschooled for 10 years, and we traveled around the world, and we'd been on that big trip, and she came back and she'd ummed and ahed about whether she wanted to go to school. And this was the year, although she'd done a bit the previous year, but that was sort of anyway, that sort of didn't count. She was in a homeschooly group environment. This was the year that she went back and went to high school to do her final years in school. And that was hard, because it was okay, she went, and obviously Sonny's working and doing his thing, and she just wasn't here anymore, and that was that was really weird for anyone that's homeschooling and has homeschoolers go back to high school. It's a really weird feeling, because all of a sudden you not only miss them so much, but you just feel a little bit of, for all those years you've done that routine, and for all those years they've been at home, and then suddenly they're not. It's just
in a school environment type thing. Yeah.
So that hit me quite hard in February. It was just when I say hit me hard, I just mean it was just, I just missed her, and it was just, I wanted to be really positive for her, and it's going to be brilliant. You're going to love it. And, and it's that thing, isn't it? Where you have to put on that brave face for your kids and be like, yeah, this is the best decision. And but inside something is saying, please just do your exams at home, and just because anyway. So that for me is what happened in February. And then in March, New Zealand goes into the lockdown thing. Now, I just need to say this, because maybe I'll make a public apology to you, Brian.
Go on.
In March, I'm sure I wasn't the only one to be like this. I remember you were like, we're going to go into lockdown, Liz. You better start getting loads of food and putting it in the freezer. And I honestly, I was in denial. I was like, no, we're not.
Yeah, it wasn't a panic buy, but you could just see what was going to happen. And
is it safe to say that you did panic a little bit, Bri?
Yes. Well, you do.
Yeah.
You just do.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. You know, it's just you don't want to see your family, do without. You don't, you don't want to go down that route. And it's kind of a hard thing. It wasn't an out and out panic, because they kept saying there's not a problem, and you could see people around the world going and buying toilet paper for some unknown reason. For the life of me, I don't know why you need so much toilet paper.
Bri, don't be a hypocrite, because we bought loads of toilet paper after that. And I think it's that thing. Yeah, exactly.
Thought, but they might have been using it as face masks or something. I don't know.
Don't try and make out that we didn't have 10 packets of toilet paper in the cupboard in the spare room.
Yep.
Because, do you know why? Because when you see other people, and this is what it is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
When you see other people doing something, is it human nature just to go, oh my God, maybe we should do that, And we
Yep.
did. We went out and spent $2,000 on food and stuff, and basically just filled the freezer.
Yeah, we actually turned the freezer on. We have a freezer in the garage that we never use. We used to use it years ago, but it was costing too much money to run it. It was like extra $50 a month to run the freezer, and so it was like yes, and we went out and got the supplies in because we didn't know when the shops would open again. Even though they were saying the shops will stay open, you can't.
No one would give you an answer, would they?
Yeah,
They
no.
were like, oh, no, yeah, we're going to stay open. Don't worry about that. And you're like, well, I'm sorry, but why are all your shelves empty then? Why can we not get any flour? All the flour went, didn't it? And it did sort of cause a bit of a panic thing. So it was really quick in New Zealand from going like to where you weren't allowed to, go out and meet your friends to, did it just go straight to level?
Well, they had these
One.
the 4 tiers, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4.
Which is the highest?
4.
Oh, right. Okay.
So level 1, they hit straight away,
yeah.
which was closing the borders and not letting people in as such. Even though, if you're coming on a plane, yes, but then you'd have to do the self-isolation. So it was closing the borders. Then we went to level 2 within about 2 days of them announcing that, or maybe 3 days, which meant that was the social distancing, no gatherings larger than 100 people and all that sort of stuff. And then we hit level 3 for about 3 days and then bang into level 4. So within
just really quick.
it was about a week. So that's why you were expecting this thing to be over a certain amount of time. But I tell you what, though, Liz, it saved lives.
I know, yeah. Yeah, I know, yeah. So that's what I was going to say is like that we I know all the good thing about the lockdown and stuff, but what I want to talk about is like the effect it had on us and our family. So for instance, like Sonny was working at the music shop and he phoned me up and he's 19, like, he's not one to, no, he was 18 then, wasn't he? He's not, it's not a kid. He's not going to panic and it's not a baby, but he phoned me up and he said, what's going on? And I said, why? What do you mean? He said, oh, the guy that I work with, he's listening to the radio or whatever. And he just said to me, close the door, bro. It's over.
Yeah.
And Sonny goes, what does that mean? And I'm like, I mean, this is a bit dramatic, but it's like, I said, we're going into lockdown, Sonny. Well, what does that mean? And no one knew, did they? And it's like,
yeah, but the thing is on the Monday they announced, I'm pretty sure it was the Monday, they announced that they were going into level 3. And then I think it was the Wednesday that they said, right, that's it. We're going into level 4 tomorrow at midnight. And so they announced that around about midday on the Wednesday. And that was the panic stations was like, that's when I was down at the, working down the road and literally came back up to you, said, you need to go out. And even then you still said, no, you don't need to.
No, actually, I didn't, if you remember rightly.
Yeah, but
I didn't.
I didn't come home. I spoke to you on the phone, didn't I?
And said...
Shouted down the
phone.
phone.
And had a go at me. And I'm like, all right, you want me to go and buy shopping? I'll go and buy shopping.
And Liz went out.
So I sped off. Like literally, we were going into lockdown at 12 o'clock that night. I recommend this actually. Just get a credit card, right? Or this is all you have to do. Just get a credit card.
Max it.
And max it out with loads of food and supplies. And then just stick it all in your freezer. And do you know what I found? Look, normally on an average spend for a family of 4 in New Zealand, we spend on food about, bearing in mind we buy wine and, toiletries and all the rest of it, about 400 New Zealand to 400 to 450 probably.
Yeah.
New Zealand dollars a week, right?
Yep.
So I went out that day and spent 2,000 New Zealand dollars, and that shop lasted us 7 weeks. We didn't go out for 7 weeks to buy anything.
So much better.
And
Is
how
it better?
good's that?
Yeah,
Yes,
but
it is.
Isn't it? Yeah,
it is
like
because
down
it
to
works out
300.
so much cheaper.
Yeah.
Plus, you're not all the money on the fuel, so that was a great thing.
Saved a load on that.
So we made that thing then, didn't we? We were like, we're always going to do this, but we've sort of gone back to our old ways now, like laziness, just because it's a big thing going out. Anyway, So here we are in lockdown. Kids are a little bit, no one knows what's going on. But the one thing I will say about New Zealand lockdown, which if you're not aware of this, I have never in my life felt like I was in this really special, well-behaved club, like no one is going to break the rules.
It was a team.
That's the word, team. That's it, not club. Yeah, it was. It was just like, New Zealand, we can do this. And it was just, it just gave you like prickles on the back of your neck. It's like, oh my God, like no one was saying, oh, what's this rubbish? I'm not going into lockdown. Oh, no one can tell me what to do.
You're taking away my rights.
Yeah,
And it's like,
no one
nope.
said that. They were like, everyone just felt like the whole country went and just came together, and it just made me feel so bloody proud. And honestly, I loved it. Absolutely loved that about New Zealand.
That unity was amazing, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. Oh, made me a little bit tearful, that. Yeah. So anyway, moving on. So March, we spent the whole time in lockdown. If you want to know about us in lockdown, I'll link to the podcast that we did about staying positive in lockdown, because that was one of our big things that we made sure that we did, was kept a routine going. Yes,
yeah, it was. Yeah, but the thing with lockdown, a lot of people, and I know what we're trying to be here is a little bit pick the positive parts of the year out, because it's so easy to pick all the negative stuff out and see, this and that. So we just try and pick out the bits about lockdown with me that I found out, because obviously this podcast is all about me. Was I'd been working very hard. As a lot of people do, but I'd taken on a project that was a big project management job, and I just found it ultra stressful. Really, really hard. It wasn't easy to deal with. It was just organising a lot of people that didn't know where and what they were doing. On a new school that was being built. It was a groundbreaking project, the first one in the world. And it was just it took its toll. But then when I found that we had to, we were made to go into lockdown, stop working, and that just made me really think about and assess what I was doing with my life, and that side of it. It was the one of the the only blessings that came out of lockdown. I found with me was, all right, I'm not doing this anymore, and that was it changed my life. Yeah, and if you take the analogy, or you can compare it to someone else who has lost their job through COVID, then this is about how I decided to change the way I was. We were doing an online business in the background anyway, but this was then to put more effort into that, and that's what we're going to talk about on this as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so just to put that into context, what happened was if you know a little bit about our backstory, we went traveling for Brian is a heating specialist. He had a heating company, a plumbing and heating company. He sold half of his company. With the proceeds, we went traveling around the world. And while we were traveling around the world, we said, sod this, we're not going to go back to doing, working 10 hours a day anymore. We're going to be digital nomads, and we're going to have this online business, and we can go traveling around the world. So that's what we decided to do. We set up a drop shipping business, we set up a content site, and we set up a what's it called when you build something like doggy? We built doggy dens, didn't we?
It's a manufacturing company.
Manufacturing company. We basically manufactured these indoor dog kennels, and we said, yeah, we're going to make these and we're going to sell them all around New Zealand. And so we're going to have these 3 companies, and we're going to just make all this money, and we're not going to work for anyone else, and not work for anyone else, because we never did, because we were self-employed. But do you know what I mean? We're not going to go out to work. We're not going to have to stay in the one place and work from that place ever again. So that was in 2009, beginning of 2019. So the whole of 2019, we were sort of like building these businesses up. And that is why Brian took the job as the project manager, because not only are you absolutely brilliant and quite right, you should have done that, and they were so lucky to have you to do that job. But we needed the money, didn't we? We were like,
Yeah, well, we did, because we weren't, obviously.
The businesses weren't making
and
money.
That's what, you start an online company, it's just not overnight that you're making, $1,000 a week or whatever out of it. You're just not.
No.
And it's going to take you up to 2 years. So that's why it's advisable to do it while you're still working. And instead of just thinking, oh, I'll start a Shopify site and bang, I'll be making money tomorrow. You might well do if you get the right niche. You could be doing it within 3 months. You can, But
I think you're right. I think you've got to give it at least. I mean, now it's been 2 years and we're making money.
Yes.
Not masses of money, but we're making enough money for us to go and live in Asia, live in Thailand.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's it. If we were living in Asia and we were renting the house out, then yes, you would.
We've done it. We've done it. We're there.
Yeah. But living in a Western type and society, even though we're down in New Zealand, Australia, New Zealand, England, America, it's a similar type. You need money to survive.
Bloody dear.
It's dear, freaking expensive.
So that gives you the backstory of why Brian took the job, and then you were project manager. You were absolutely amazing at it. You were brilliant, but you being you
took too much on. It was only supposed to be just doing the small mechanical services, as in just the plumbing really and the heating in the school, but it ended up being, because I've got an electrical background as well, doing the full mechanical services, including fire, security, cameras, incoming underground 11,000 volt cables and fiber optics. We put over 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers of fiber optics and all that, everything. It was a huge learning curve for me, and but I did it, but it took its toll.
Yeah, because I remember sitting down. So we're in lockdown now. So where are we? We're in April, and just about to come out of lockdown. And I remember sitting down at the shed having a coffee with you, and we just looked at each other, and we were just like, "This is what it's all about: having that time. You don't
breathe.
have to go to work until 10 o'clock if you don't want to. Just that bloody rubbish of like." You have to be there at like 7:45, and then your phone ringing at 7 o'clock at night, and emails coming through on Sunday at 9 o'clock at night. It's like, what? I'm sorry, but what is this? It's not worth it. It's just.
No, I remember one day going down to the site, and I had to get from no more than sort of 100 feet walk, 30-meter walk from one building to another building. And it took me 3 hours to do that 30-meter walk.
Because everyone wanted
just, road contractors saying, whereabouts is the road going? Whereabouts is this trench going? The storm guys who are doing the storm water, where's this going? How's that? And it's like, this is not my project, but there was no one else there to take it on. So you have to do it, or otherwise we wouldn't have got to the point where we had to be open in the February.
Was it just on your mind constantly?
It took over your life. It wasn't right. But hey, that's another podcast.
Yeah, that is. So what we're trying to say is lockdown for us was a really positive, for me and Brian, and Sunny, was a really positive experience.
Yep.
I just loved every single minute of it. If I'm honest, I loved it. It meant we didn't have to go out. We didn't have to drive anywhere. There was no one to go and see. And I don't mean to be antisocial, but, sometimes it's like, oh, I haven't seen them. Oh, I better go and see them. And, and all that was gone. And like I say, no phone calls, no emails. The kids were just at home. You just knew where they were. You weren't worried. You weren't like, oh, where are they? And it was just lovely. And we got some money from New Zealand government because we'd taken a cut in because of Brian's job. We'd taken a cut in money. So we were in a very, very lucky, privileged position that not only are we sitting in a lovely house in New Zealand, but we're also getting some money from the government. So that stress was gone.
But it is because the thing is our income just dried up overnight. We were out of work. Or I was out of work because the construction site closed down, and there was nothing. I was on a short-term contract, so there was no remuneration or any money that would come my way. And literally, I lost my job as soon as lockdown hit.
Yeah. So going back to before we we're going on and on. This is going to be a long podcast, but I'm sorry. But anyway, so
it's the end of the year. So,
yeah, exactly. It's the last one of the year.
You can always press pause and then press play again when you get back in the car.
I'm always aware when I'm doing a podcast that it's going on, and people are going, "Oh, come on, just hurry up and finish. Get on with it."
Yeah, but the thing is, people listen to your podcast and you tend to think, "Oh, they'll find this boring." But it's like, hey, if you're listening to us, then hopefully you'll just get a feel of who we are and where we're from, like what our year's been like.
Yeah, it gives you an idea of like what we're like. So just before we move out of lockdown, in May, I just want to talk about one of my other online businesses. One of those online businesses that we talked to you about was my travel blog, the blog that you're listening to on this from this podcast, which is called It's a Drama, which was built. I started it in 2017, end of 2017, and it's all about travel. You know, it's about travel in the world. So I had been writing all about travel and I was doing so well. I'd conquered Pinterest. I was doing well on, you know, all my engagement and getting people to my site. I'd got an advertising company to advertise on my site. So I was getting good money from that, like like a 1,000. How much was I getting from my advertising back then? $1,000 a month advertising on all of my travel posts. And I'd created this travel course that I'd spent months doing. Like it'd taken me 5 months to create this travel course, teaching people how to travel with their family for cheap, how to travel the world with their family and all the obstacles you come across when you do that. And I launched that in February. So you can imagine, it's like, yay, I've got a travel course.
Well, that took you 5 months to do that travel course.
It took me 5 months.
And people just think, oh, it's just a cheap travel course and stuff. There's not much in it. I mean, when I saw the amount of work that you put into that, and then COVID hits and affects the world travel, like nothing has ever done like before, is it?
And that's what I want to talk to you about later on is, so here I am, just bear this in mind as well, with a business that was just taking off, was just starting to make money. And it's a travel blog. And it's like, oh, okay. So now that's over. So, but even with that, even knowing that, like I am the sort of person that thinks, oh, well, I'll just do something else. I'll just turn it into something else. And I think as well that because we were in lockdown, because our family were together, because I felt secure and settled and happy, it did make me think, I'm going to just do something else. I didn't sit there and think, oh, boo-hoo, poor me. Now what? No. Well, that's it then, isn't it? Forget it.
But this goes back to the old saying, you never put all your eggs in one basket. And that's what you should never really do. And I know a lot of us do. Well, I work for this company and that's it. It's like, yeah, we'll get a side hustle, get something else on the go, just in case something happens.
Yeah, just like that.
That's exactly it, isn't it? Like, you know, and that's what, you know, you're adaptable. We both are very adaptable. If something's not right, you can't just sit there and go boo-hoo.
No.
It's like, oh, look at me.
No.
It's just like, get on your frigging horse and ride it,
boy.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So that was the thing about the blog, the travel blog, because I know a lot of people have asked me about that. So that's what happened. So rather than just go, oh no, I just thought, what else? What else have I done? And then I thought, hang on, I've been homeschooling for the last 10 years. And now the world is in the position where it's being made to homeschool their kids, you know. And I saw that, you know, when they say one door closes and another one opens, that was my opportunity. And I saw it right there. And yes, it was a bit of a problem because my whole blog is centered around travel, but it's also centered around kids. And we took our kids away for a year. Well, loads of people say, well, how did you do that? What about school? Well, it didn't even cross our mind about what about school because we'd been homeschooling at that point for 8 years, whatever. So to us, it was just an extension of homeschooling, you know. Again, if you want to read more about that, I'll put a link, in the show notes about that. But yeah, and it was just one of those things where I thought, I was sitting down in the shed one day, outside the shed. We spent a lot of time outside the shed, by the way. Our shed is down overlooking some lovely trees and a river.
Our shed is away from the house, not much that away. Yeah, it's because our house is built on
10-minute walk.
Yeah, it's built on a hill that's been retained, and I put a retaining wall in when I built the house, and then by the side of the retaining wall, right next to it, I built a little shed.
Yeah,
and that's where we run to.
The thing is, if you go down there, the kids can't see you and they don't know you're there and there's no Wi-Fi signal. So no one can phone you or text you or come and bother you. So me and Brian just always pack a flask, a couple of pieces of toast or a croissant or something. And we take our little camping chairs out the shed and we prop them up against the side of the shed, which is out of the wind and it's a lovely sunny spot. And we just sit there and we just talk. And we did that a load in lockdown.
Yeah, we did. And I actually decided that... because obviously I like to go for a coffee with a croissant when we get chance for meal is to catch up. But we had no croissants, so I decided, and my favorite thing when we go out for coffee is a pan of raisin. And I'll always remember that about lockdown. It was like I learned to cook pan of raisin. It's got creme patissiere in it and raisins, and you have to make like the same as if you were making a croissant. You make the same dough and roll it and make your own layers, and amazing.
Bit rich though, wasn't it, Bri?
No.
You didn't quite get it right, Bri.
I didn't quite get it right. It ended up being a bit cake-like.
Nice. It was nice.
Yeah,
but
it was.
You made absolutely loads, and every day we're like, this is nice.
These are nice, aren't they,
We'll
Liz?
have them again, eh?
I'll put some brushed marmalade on them this time.
No, they were nice. But yeah, so just quickly, just refreshing. So I just thought I'm going to turn the blog and I'm going to focus away from travel and I'm going to focus onto homeschooling. And that is what I just want to say to you is sometimes, you've just got to just stop and just think, what else can you do? And sometimes you just think, and it was so obvious. Why didn't I think of that anyway? Because I thought, well, who's going to want to know about homeschooling your kids? Well, hello, the whole world now. So from there, I went and started writing lots and lots about homeschooling. I did lots of podcasts about homeschooling, just trying to help people and, guide my blog another way. So,
yep, which is very good. You got a bit of chesty cough there, Liz.
Excuse me, I'm really sorry. Yeah, I have. I've got a little bit of a chesty cough. Right, so this is a little bit. This is the downside of podcasting. So we're in June now. So no, we're in May. So out of lockdown.
Yep.
And this really, really rocked me. The one person that didn't like lockdown, that, do you know what? And I feel, I missed this. I missed it. And I cannot believe I missed it, was Tessa, my daughter. She was just becoming, let's have a bit of tea, more and more withdrawn, more and more sad and lonely. And we were just putting it down to like, oh yeah, it's just lockdown. It's normal. She can't see her friends.
And she wasn't overly happy at school,
She didn't like school,
she kept saying, "Oh, I'm not enjoying the school, and I'm supposed to be at this amazing school, and supposed to be so happy that I'm here, and be grateful that I'm here." And she said, "I'm just not." Yeah.
And it was one of those situations where it's not so bad if all your family are having a shit time and someone comes to you and goes, "I'm having a crap time," because it's like, oh God, I know. But we were like in this little euphoric bubble that we were loving, and all of a sudden our daughter comes and goes, knocks on the outside and goes, "Hello, but I feel like crap," basically.
Yeah, which she did. I just remember she went back to school, didn't she, that first week after lockdown, which was, like you say, it's or about 2 weeks into it. And I just remember coming in one night and she just walking into her bedroom and she's just there crying her eyes out, and she just looked up at me and just said, "Daddy, I feel terrible." It's just, and she just said depressed, anxious, all those things that you just dread hearing as a parent. She was just in a really, really low place. Yep.
And we didn't know what the hell to do, because it was like, oh my God, what do we do? Do we go to a therapist? Do we go to, we didn't have a clue.
No, and it's hard these days because they I don't know, they tend to see other people being depressed, and they can start doing some rather crazy things because they get some crazy ideas off social media of that's what you do when you're depressed, like self-harming and looking, you just straight away.
It was a really, really frightening
very,
time.
very tough
It
time.
was a very frightening time because, like I say, as a parent, you just want your kids to be fine. You don't mind a few bumps and all stuff like that. But when they come to you and start saying things like that, you're like, oh my God. So it was just, and again, it was, the country was in a weird place because
everybody was in a weird place.
They were. Everyone just, it was just that feeling of weird unrest. I'm sure every one of you listening to this can relate to that feeling. It just didn't feel right. And so and then on top of that, she comes to me and says that, and my initial reaction is like, just stop everything, get rid of all the social media, get rid of all your phone, stop going on the computer. And you just want to swaddle them and just be like, just be like you were when you were a baby again, sort of thing.
Yeah, remove them from the situation, even though we didn't think there was a situation. There obviously was.
Yeah, there was. She couldn't give you any. She didn't like school. Okay, fair enough. You're coming out of school. That wasn't a hard one.
No.
Do you want to leave school? Yes, right. You're leaving school. Just come back and homeschool. That's that sorted.
Yep.
But even that. So anyway, what I want to talk about is we did what, like when you have that initial, it's just like a protective mother instinct in you. And it's like I say, you just want to put your arms around them. And basically that's what I did. I said to her, we're going away. And I put her in the car and I took her to Wellington for 5 days.
Yeah, for 5 days. Yeah, you took her to a little bed and breakfast, and I have never seen a change in someone so much over, waving Tess goodbye. And I know Liz is finding it hard to talk right now because
it was.
Yeah, but your thing is you went down with her and you had a great talk to her for 5 hours in the car, and that I think got a lot of things out there, and you got to get under. Not in, under her skin a little bit, not under her skin, but, into her mind a little bit, and open up and see what the problems were.
So thank you for saving me, because I didn't want to start blubbing on the thing. But a couple of years ago, I went to this woman's circle. I'd never been to this woman's circle, and someone introduced me to a woman's circle. And I was like, oh, well, this is just going to be freaky. What's all this about? And it's basically where women go and sit in a circle. And this is a real quick summary of it. This doesn't do it any justice, but you go and sit in a circle, and in the middle of the circle is beautiful things like candles and tarot cards and crystals and just beautiful feminine things. And all the women sit around in a circle on a cushion. And this is how this one worked. You are given something to hold, like a piece of crystal. And while that crystal's in your hand, you just talk. And no one's allowed to interrupt you. And no one's allowed to console you or give you advice or put their arm around you and go, oh, it'll be all right. You just talk, right? And to me, this was like, what should I talk about? And they're like, well, just talk about what's on top. And I started talking, and it was just like the floodgates came open. And I went to this woman's circle about 4 or 5 times. And what I took out of that is it is so therapeutic to just be able to talk and not have someone interrupt you, not have someone give you advice, not have someone go, oh, that happened to me and you'll be fine. Or just, and I suppose that's what I've never been to a therapist, so I don't know, but I would imagine that's maybe what a therapist would do. But so on the way, I remembered this, and I put her in the car and we drove down to Wellington, and I just said, I told her about this woman's circle, and I just said, right, talk. And it's a 5-hour drive to Wellington. And she talked the whole way. And I did not talk back to her one jot. I never said a word, which was bloody hard for me, I tell you that. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. And yeah, she just talked and talked and talked. And it was like watching a transformation in her. It really was. Looking back now, she started off and she was so angry and so upset. And then she went through the sad stage, and then she started laughing, and then she came back and she was quiet. And it was just a 5-hour therapy session for her in this car. And we went down to Wellington, and yeah, I took her to the comedy club, and we just had meals together, and we walked around shops, went window shopping, and
went to all the op shops.
Went to the op shops and went to the cinema and just did nice things, and we came back, and thank God she was fine.
Yeah, I mean, she should dip in and out of it a little bit, but I think she could see that she didn't want to be there. It was a choice for her to change, and she realised that choice is hers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not everybody does that.
Just that hard part, where it could have gone either way. That's what I thought. It could have gone either way. And normally I'm so bloody, I annoy myself, because I'm like, come on, get on with it. No, you can do it. Let's just forget about this. Let's not talk about that. I am like that. I know I am. And for once I wasn't. And I was like, yes, you know, do this. And it was just worked.
Mhm.
And it was just magical. And so, you know, when people say everything happens for a reason, or like things come in your life and you're like, because I remember going to that woman's circle and thinking, well, this just, you know, I liked it, but it was massively vulnerable. And at the time, I wasn't in the right sort of space to be open. I was basically,
No.
I spent the whole night just bawling my eyes out. And everyone else was like, is it our turn yet? You know, can someone take the crystal off her, please, so we can have a turn? So anyway, so that was June. So Tessa came home from school. She's back homeschooling, which, do you know what? Just it just felt right. It felt like the jigsaw was back, you know, like putting a puzzle back together. She was, like Brian said, she was just on every day was better and better. I'm not saying she turned into this wonderfully happy. She's a teenager. She's 16. I mean, you know what 16-year-olds are like. 1 minute is great and the next minute, but that initial, it was gone. That massive dark cloud that was over her was gone. And it was just like, oh, thank God for that. You know, it was just, so she's back homeschooling, and which was great because I was working on my homeschooling stuff and that all tied in with that. And it just felt like, yeah.
No, that was a huge thing. And, you know, she had a mountain to climb still, because she had to readjust and everything. And I mean, she's at that stage in her life where she's got to take her, you know, NCA level 1. And this would have been May time, June time.
June.
And so she had under 6 months to actually sort her NCA level 1 out, which normally would take you 12 months.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that's to coming home. So that's the power of homeschooling. And we'll give you an update
exactly.
on that.
Yeah, she came back and she did 6 months worth of work. We'll update you with that. A year's worth of work in 6 months. Because she just came back. She was happy. She was relaxed. She was just focused. And
and she's just literally last week finished her end of year. So she did it actually in 5 months, because I think her last exam was the 29th or 28th of November, wasn't it? Yeah. And that was an external exam at a school. So she has to go as a homeschooler to the school to sit the exam with all the other people.
Do you know what I would love Tess to do? And I don't think she will, but I would love her to talk just about her experience and how she felt.
Yeah, it would help a lot of people out there, wouldn't it?
I know.
It really would.
Think there's so many. I know, I bet you there's billions of kids out there going
or even
through
if
that.
You've got young kids, and you know, because my sister's got four kids, Jacob, Martha, Zachary, and Phoebe, and she always said, "Oh, it's okay when they're that age, but when they get to this age, it gets more." And you're like, "Okay, we'll take that in our stride." But when it hits you like that with a teenager, it's hard, isn't it? Because it's not children's problems anymore. They become more adult, don't they? And
you know what? One piece of advice I would give, and Linda, your sister, gave me this advice, and she, in my eyes, she is, if I could put someone on a pedestal of like how to raise your children, Linda would be it. Like Linda and Doug, you know, because they talk to their kids, and she always said that to me. Like, she's like, Liz, try and listen more and talk to them. And do you know what? Sometimes you just don't want to bloody talk to them. You know, you're either mad or you know it's going to lead to something really big and deep, and it's probably irrelevant, but it's massive to them. And you just, it's easier to just think, oh, do you know what? No, I don't want to talk to you. But it works every time. It really does, you know.
Because you constantly want to go and pull on your experience of what you did and how you got through that and how you did. And it's just like, well, it's totally different to them than what it was with me.
And I don't think, hands up, I'm probably I'm probably the worst at like trying to keep my mouth shut. I work really hard at it, and I'm like, just listen. But I just think that whole talking thing, even now, like every day, like, you know, sometimes you go in and they're like, they grunt at you and you're like, you just got to make them talk to you, you know, and just like, come on, let's just talk. Anyway, right. So
this is going to be a long podcast.
No, it isn't, because the next 3 months we're gonna put into one. So well, that's the next 2 months. July and August was spent for us bringing our family back together. So
Yeah.
just take everything that you've just listened to and realize that July and August, we said, we need some time away. We need to bond, not bond. We need to.
Yeah, so me and you went away.
Yeah. So what we did was we sent the kids to mum.
Which we did.
And me and Brian went away on our own.
For 5 nights, wasn't it? It wasn't exactly
and
a long
left
time.
those little buggers at home on their own.
Go and mope over there.
No one wants to talk to you, love.
Yeah, we know about you.
No. Yes. Brian, you've ruined it now.
Okay.
He's trying to make out that we're having this lovely family thing. No, all right. Okay, yeah, it's right. We did. We went to, and I will link to this in the podcast notes. Me and Brian went away because basically we were afraid.
Yeah.
Going
Exhausted.
through that
Yeah.
was exhausting.
It was,
It was
yeah.
just bloody exhausting.
That with lockdown and everything else and all that stuff. And
no, it wasn't the lockdown.
No,
it was
wasn't.
just that,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
It was.
It was just, you know, if you're going through the same or you've been through the same, you know how much it takes its toll because you've got to try and be this strong person, but then you just get into bed at night and you're just crying your eyes out, or you wake up at 3:00 in the morning, your heart's just beating and you're just worrying constantly about how they're going to be. And, it was just awful. So that's why we went to on our little glamping holiday, which was bliss.
Yeah. And at that time we had booked that because we just said we need to go away. As in, this was before we'd figured out with Tess. So we'd booked the glamping holiday and we'd booked a second holiday to go away in a camper for 10 days, wasn't it?
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks, yeah.
Because New Zealand
Auckland.
were offering, because of what had happened, because they've got no tourists coming in, all the camping, all the motorhome companies, or most of them, were offering like something ridiculous.
It's $500 for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was super cheap.
It was like literally
or $500 a week. It was
it cost us $250 a week.
It was super cheap.
It was ridiculously cheap.
So instead of the car sitting there on the car pot, it was like they were giving them away almost, weren't they?
So we booked that because of that and said, yep, let's go away and we're going to have this holiday away together.
Yeah, but then the week before, you could see the kids were like, oh, you're going away in a camper. Because when we first came to New Zealand 11 years ago, we went in a camper and we were going to retrace those steps, weren't they? But without the kids. And you could just see their faces like, oh. And so we said, right, what we'll do is we'd booked a camper with Brits, hadn't we? And we said, right, we'll book you a camper because Sonny can drive. We'll get them, because we only had a two berth one, and we would get them a small 2-berth, a juicy, and we booked them one. That was super cheap as well. I think it was about the same sort of price, and we were all set to go, weren't we? And we were heading up to Auckland, and then they went back into level 3 lockdown, didn't they?
Yeah, because Auckland had a few cases.
A few outbreaks.
So they closed the whole of Auckland and you weren't allowed to drive even into Auckland to pick up a camper, which is fair enough. So we had to rearrange all our plans. But can I just quickly go back to what the reason we decided to take the kids is because we were going to go on our own. And then here I am in the car park with Tess overlooking the sea. We'd just gone for a coffee and we were sitting there in the car and she said, can I just say something? I'm like, yep. And she said, I really wish you weren't going away without us. And it was like, oh, okay. Right, all right then. So, and you're tempted to sort of say, well, tough love because we are. But it was just, again, it was one of those things where you just think it was one of those moments, could have gone either way. We could have made the decision. And it was like, no, your heart tells you, doesn't it? It's like, you're laughing, take the kids. So I came home and told you, you're like, what? What are you laughing at?
I was laughing at the moment when we actually got into the camper because it's just the fact that they weren't coming, and then we're driving out of Christchurch because we had to go to we flew down to Christchurch in the end, didn't we? I used all my air points, which have been saving for about 6 years, and we bought air tickets down to Christchurch because the Brits said no, you can't do it down there. But Juicy said we did, so we went. The 4 of us went in one Juicy camper, which is they're tiny, really, aren't they? It's a small high ace van, and they were sat in the back with not knowing to us that the plug was out of the sink and it had the smelly tank in there, didn't it?
Oh, it reeked.
Oh, it did, and we couldn't smell it at the front.
We couldn't smell it from the
no,
front.
and they were just kept moaning, saying, "Oh, it stinks in here." And I remember you turning around saying something, "You better realise how lucky you are that you're." Talking to them like 2 10-year-olds.
The exact words were, "Do you know what? If you can't pretend to, if you're not happy to be here, then you bloody well pretend to be."
Both their faces just went flat pan, and they looked at each other and they never said a word for 6 hours.
Pretend to be happy, you little bastards. We've spent loads of money on this.
Oh dear.
Oh no, I love them so much.
Yeah.
I really do. Anyway, so August and September was spent having a wonderful holiday.
We had a great holiday.
We had
away
a
with
brilliant
them. It
time,
was.
actually.
We were supposed to be camping. We were in the South Island in the middle of winter, and the South Island is pretty chilly. And the first night we camped, it was -4. Maybe -5, and we just got up the next day and just said, and then we were freedom camping as well. So, honestly, it was. We just said, well, this isn't working, so we decided to book Airbnb, didn't we?
So, on that note, please, if you do follow me and you've been looking at Instagram pictures, I mean, I always try and put the real stuff up anyway, but as you know, should that be read like that? Is that supposed to be?
It's supposed to be read.
Please don't think that was the perfect family holiday where everything was lolly, perfect, because it was like, they were the sort of conversations that we were having.
Yeah.
It's like, put your phone down and just enjoy this. This was supposed to be our holiday and you're here, so... Oh, no, we had a gorgeous time.
We
It
did.
was just lovely.
It was good.
Which leads us up to October. And while we were away and I was putting things on Instagram and, on the blog and podcasting about it, loads of people, I think because the US election was coming up and all stuff like that, but loads of people emailed me and said, how do you, what's it like living in New Zealand? So for the whole of October and most of November, so say 6 weeks, October, November, I spent, actually, no, what am I saying? No, not personally.
Yeah, she better get this right.
Sorry, Bri. No, not personally me. Brian and Bri spent 6 weeks about a month creating.
It felt like 6 weeks because there's a lot of work involved.
Creating a video guide for what it's like living in New Zealand. And so, when I was talking to you about going different ways and moving with the tide and looking for opportunities, that was another one of those experiences. It was another one of those times where it was like, well, hang on a minute, I've got this travel blog. Yes, I'm doing this homeschooling stuff and I'd made this homeschooling course and that was going really well. But now people are asking about New Zealand. Well, hang on, we live in New Zealand, and we can't travel anywhere else. So why don't we make this guide for people about what it's like living here? And so we did. And
that was quite amazing, the amount of people from the USA that would contact you and just say, what's it like, what's this like, what's that like? And it was just like, you got to do something about this because people are asking you just the simple things. Do
you know what COVID as it did for me personally with my business is it made people open up so much more, and it taught me so much about what other people are going through. Because when you're like a travel blogger, people will email you and say, oh yeah, what this and that, but they never go into the depths of what's going on in their life. And so many people, mainly from America, have emailed me. Thank you so much. I feel honored and humbled to be able to say that you have opened up your heart to me and told me parts of your life that I would never, ever have guessed that those people were going through that in America.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it really, we talk about it with the kids all the time, don't we? We read out people's emails to the kids and we're like, can you believe that these people are saying this about their life? In America, you just think, I don't know, you'd expect it from a country that was, a third world country or something like that. But these people, they're pouring their hearts out to me and about what they're going through. And I just think the whole COVID thing has made people more open, willing to share and come together and
Yeah, and
just
put a hand out
reach
for help.
out. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Just reach out and put their hand out. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we made that New Zealand course, and that was launched, or the guide, and that was launched a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
a
it
month
was.
ago.
It was a bunch of videos. I mean, you did. I think you did 5 free videos. But there's so much work involved. You watch a 3-minute video and you just think, oh, well, it's just a video. But the work involved just to get the footage and then put it together. And we've been going through like 5 years of footage sometimes just to find out. Oh, when we were down there, did we take any video? And it was like back then we used to just take pictures because we weren't that super involved in videos, and the cameras or the phones that we were using back then weren't that good. But still, we and then to try and get it all together, and then when we decided to do the stuff on even like hospitals and doctors and schools and things like that, it all takes so much time.
It's just getting all the footage together. And
you'd go out one day and try and do some videoing, and you'd come back with 180 clips that you'd then have to go in through and save it all into different folders on your computer and to put it together. And it's just, if you want, just check it out. I think you've got a link on your website somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah,
to that
if you
guide?
just go and get the free ones. You get 5 days of free videos, and that will give you an idea of like life in New Zealand. And then, like I say, well, if you want, whatever, it's just that it's there if you want it. But that's where we are at the moment. So here we are in December. We're right at the end of the year, and it's been a very up and down year, hasn't it? It's been a crazy year. It's not been all bad. There's been loads of positives have come out of it.
Yep. I sold my van. So my work van, which obviously, being a heating guy, and a plumber or whatever you want to call it, to sell your actual van and almost hang up your tools. Because all you've got now is a little Peugeot 207, which is a small car. And if I do get the odd job that I need to go and have a look at someone's boiler that I installed, or whatever, I can go and look at it. But I'm not doing any installation work or anything like that. And I'm not, I'm just trying to concentrate now on more on doing what we're doing.
So our online businesses. Just to give you I'm going to really skim over this because maybe this is something we can talk about next year. But so we've got 3, like I've told you about the travel. It sounds really like does that sound
It's
okay?
probably coming through the headphones.
Oh, right. Yeah, so I told you about the travel thing, didn't I? So now that's homeschooling and traveling, homeschooling and New Zealand life and, living in New Zealand until we pick up back travel again. Our other site, our drop shipping site, is doing really well. It's doing great. It sells pet products. So, yep, that's doing great. It's taken about 18 months to get there. I'm not going to, I could talk forever about this, but I can't. I'm not even going to go there because it's just too.
No, it's a podcast in its own, which we have been meaning to do for the last 6 months, haven't we? To tell people,
about dropshipping.
Yeah, if you are, what am I, 57, and, a tradie who now can build a website, can do video editing and all those sort of things, and marketing and stuff like that. And you write content for it. And so, it's doable. You can do it.
Yeah.
Don't think you can't because, I'm too old for that. I can't learn that. It's like, yes, you can.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's the side of it that, get off your bum and you just think, I'm too busy. I'm working. I'm too tired when I come home. Well, it's not. That's when you need to do it.
Yeah.
And just get on and do it. And you go, I'm too tired. 57 years old, being a plumber, out there all day, lay a kilometre of pipe with a couple of guys.
You're knackered, aren't you, Bri? You're
You're
knackered.
absolutely exhausted. But you come home and go, right, I'll sit down here for an hour and put a few more products on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, that's the way you do it.
Okay, and just before we leave, Sunny, Sunny, I want to talk to you about Sunny just quickly. So Sunny is, he's still working at the music shop. He has got a part in a play for a show. He loves acting. He loves performing. Maybe some of you have seen some of his videos where he's performing on the piano. And he's got the main role in Avenue Q, if any of you know that. That's a musical so they're doing that show in May in New Plymouth next year.
Yeah, and Tessa's in there as well, isn't she?
Tessa's in
she's
there
got
as
a part
well,
in
yeah.
it. But Sonny's got a big part in it.
But Sonny's got the main role, and he's doing some work. He's doing
videography
for a guy that does online courses. So he films him doing his courses, and then Sonny puts it all together for him. And yesterday he went out and did a freelance photography shoot for a woman who's expecting a baby. And yeah, it's just sort of building up. Sonny is 19, and I keep saying to Brian, it's one of those things that if he was at college or university now, we wouldn't be seeing the not the struggles, but just the...
Yeah, but you don't see the normal teenager things because they're at university. You don't really care.
Yeah.
They can do what they want when they come home, but he's not gone to university because he's decided to do experience of what he's doing in work.
Yeah.
And
what he's doing
it's making his own education.
Yeah.
Like,
and you would pay so much money for that.
Yep.
But I'm not going to say Sonny is completely, he's not like, yeah, this is what I want to do. There's still something there that he's thinking, not quite. But as we keep saying to him, this is a work in process. Give it time. We were talking to him last night about his age, and he's like, oh, I should be moved out by now. No, you don't know. I can't stand that whole age thing where it's like, by 18, you should be doing this. By 21, you should be doing this. Just do what feels best for you. You're always welcome to be at home, even though you do my head in sometimes. Yeah. But so he's just going through that whole process of discovering different things for himself, and just, yeah, he's pretty busy. He's busy doing stuff, and I just wanted you to fill it.
We try and get him back on the podcast. I think he will do it, but every time today. He's been in his room editing stuff up and things like that. Like I say, he's out yesterday, so it's just hard getting the time.
Yeah.
To get him to come and do it.
Yeah.
And he's going to get even busier in the next few months because he's going to start his rehearsals in January.
Yeah.
And he's still there, and he's still bright and everything else.
Still sunny.
Yeah, still sunny. And like I say, yeah.
And so just to let you know, right now, December, whatever the date is, it's December the 7th or 8th or something. We've got our Christmas tree up in New Zealand. We put that up yesterday.
Yep.
We're sitting here, we're drinking peppermint tea. And after we finish this podcast, we're going to make a video for the New Zealand video guide. And that video is going to be about leaving your family in New Zealand when you move to New Zealand. Because again, that's one of the things that people keep talking to me about is like, how can I leave my parents? How can I leave my mum? How can I leave my friends? So after we've done this, we're going to pack up our stuff. Brian's going to put it all together and edit it all. And I'm going to write some notes. Then we will publish the podcast. And then this afternoon, we will go into the kitchen and make that video about leaving your family behind when you emigrate to another country. So that brings you bang up to date. Bang up to date about what we're doing and where we are.
And if you want that, if you do look at that video guide, then at the moment we will keep adding to it as well. So if you have bought it, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, or you buy it now, you will get all the new stuff that gets added to that as well. The thing with me and you,
I know, I did write that on it actually. I just put lifetime updates. It does say that.
Yep.
But the thing with me and you that maybe people don't realise is we just keep. Are we addicted to work? Do you reckon?
No, I think we're just trying to improve things. That's all. And because you do things, it's even like the first video you do, and then you're learning a new skill, and then it's like, oh, I should have done it that way. Really, I should have done it this way. But
anyway, what we're trying to say is,
you're just evolving, aren't you?
Yeah, it's great value. Oh, look, thank you. I just want to say, can I just say, I cannot believe that we've got the people listening that we've got listening. And it's just, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for being there. I have loved the people that have reached out and said, do you know, we've got this couple in America, and they have this routine where they put the kids to bed, and then they go outside and they light their outside fire, and they just sit and listen to our podcast. How fantastic is that?
Yeah, that's cool.
That is really, really cool. Yeah. It's just lovely. And yeah, loads of you have just reached out and said, yeah, we listened to you. And I can't believe it. I honestly can't believe it, because I honestly just think we're just sitting here having to talk to each other and no one listens. So it's really surprising when you go on and you're like, oh, less many people have listened. And so I just want to say a huge, huge thank you. This is going to be our last podcast for this year. We are going to be back in January, first week of January. We'll give it probably, about the 7th of January, and then we'll record another one and put it out.
Yep.
Yeah, and I just want to say it's been one of those years, but just I hope you've got something positive out of it and you've got a lesson out of it. And let's hope 2021 is just
well, let's just hope it is.
different and better.
Yeah, the world came.
Better.
Yeah, the world came together, and all those positive things. The world came together, and hopefully we have that vaccine that we thought was going to be 18 months away.
Yeah,
and we've got it within a few months. Which hopefully, fingers crossed, that makes you feel warm inside. That we can get back to some normality, and just that keeping positive and not picking on all the negative things that have happened, all that stuff that went on, this, that, and you get to it and you're here now, it's great.
Yeah.
People went back in the Premier League. They started going back to football games. Brilliant. It's been, I think it was reading today.
I've never seen you so happy.
Yeah.
You're like, they're back in the stands.
Yeah, but it's like 270 odd days, or 208. It's like nearly a year without going to the football games. And you just can't, really? It's like, not far off it, And,
okay.
Don't forget 2020, Liverpool Premier League champions.
So thank you once again for joining us on the It's a Drama podcast. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday, Christmas break, whatever you're going to be having. If you're not, then just pour a nice big glass of wine and just at least just
big
relax.
glass of whatever it is that you drink, glass of water.
Thank you. Oh no, it's silly,
Steady.
Ridiculous.
Yes.
Thank you so
The
much
holidays
for being
are coming.
there. And we'll see you in 2021.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody, and I'll speak to you next year.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us this week on the podcast. We have loved having you here.
If you guys could subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us a 5-star review.
Oh yeah, that would be nice.
That would be absolutely amazing. And make sure to share the podcast with your friends.
And if you'd like to hop over to the blog, find one of the little boxes that ask you to drop your email. I will send you a newsletter every week letting you know when we've released our new podcast. That will go
that'll be nice.
straight into your inbox. So it's www.itsadrama.com.
All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you next week for another podcast.
Look forward to it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.